So welcome everybody to the Tuesday Skill Workshop. Every single Tuesday, for those new to our Tuesdays, is a different topic. They're all skills to help you improve in your business and grow your business. And every single one of them has action items to do afterwards because trainings are only as good as the action you take after the training. If you just, I actually know an agent who's been in the business 3 years. They're not in any of our locations, but I know an agent nationwide. She's been in the business about 3 years now. Oh my God, it's almost four. Next year will be 4 years, I think in May. And she's had one closing in 4 years. Pays all her dues, all the fees we have to go through every year, continuing education, blah, blah, blah. She's had one closing. She attends every training. She attends everything throughout the night. Anything she can get her hands on, she attends. What she doesn't do is implement. Right. So every skill workshop every Tuesday is a topic to then implement. So we'll have a little assignment after this, but hopefully it's like a fun assignment. It's not going to be, it's a little holiday themed, Happy New Year kind of assignment. So with that being said, for those new here, let me introduce myself. Hi, everyone. My name is Alana Huber-Katz. I'm the Director of Education and Coaching throughout Keller Williams, Capital Properties, Keller Williams Legacy, Maryland, DC, and Virginia. So we represent about 9 locations. Oh my God, I keep forgetting. We keep adding. We keep growing, which is amazing. Like we're all part of a big family. So welcome, family. Hi. Happy almost holidays to everyone, or for some of us, such as myself, happy holiday today. So today's topic is something I do every December. So for new agents who haven't experienced this yet, but I think it's really important to learn it early on, so that way you can kind of prepare yourself for next year. And it's called Holiday Hustle Without the Burnout. Okay, so I'm going to kick this off with a live question. For those who don't know, I've been licensed since 2015, an agent, still licensed, still an agent, coach since 2017, both locally and nationally. Now I oversee our full coaching core team program throughout all of Maryland, DC, and Virginia. If anybody on here is a guest, welcome. This training is open to all. If anybody on here is within our family at Legacy or Capital Properties and you're a newer agent, and you haven't been connected with your coach yet, underneath my little, I call them Brady Bunch square, is my cell number and email. Please reach out to me and let me know so I can make sure you get that connection, because that's really important to help you grow. And again, throughout this, any questions you have, anything you need, throw it in the chat box. So let me kick this off with a question to all of you. And that's, what do you all think usually happens to business for real estate agents during the holidays? What do you think typically happens around November, December timeframe for agents? Stephanie?
They kind of slow down with the rest of the world and drop off because it's the holidays and so on and so forth. Like the hustle goes away. That's my perception.
100%. Spot on. That is the answer right there. It's like you're reading my notes. I love it. So what ends up happening, by the way, this isn't a bad thing, but let me tell you the effect of it, okay? The outcome of it. So what tends to happen is usually around like August, September, agents are like, oh, pedal to the metal, like foot on the gas. And then sometime around October, November timeframe, depending on the person and the way our brains are wired, that foot off the gas, the foot doesn't go like slowly off the gas. It's just like boop, halt, like stop, right? Just screeching halt. So what we know in real estate is, oh, thank you for putting your camera on, Dana. So what we know in real estate is everything we do today, all of our activities we do today, we see in 90 days. So what that means is if you take your foot off the gas, when an agent, not if, when an agent, because 90% of agents do this, 10% don't. We're going to talk about that in about 4 slides I'm going to show in a minute. When an agent takes their foot off the gas around November timeframe, especially December, their business drops off. So they have no closings January, no closings February. So zero money coming in. Okay. They're like starting from scratch in January to where they'll slowly start seeing business maybe around March, maybe around April. right? So a lot of real estate agents' businesses drop in January, February. When an agent truly learns and masters the art of keeping the momentum going without burning out, that's what today's topic is going to be all about. Okay, so what are things you can slowly do throughout this month to keep it going, where you're not hustling, you're not putting full force, because okay, let's all face it, we like taking some days off. We need days off, right? And for agents who have been in the business a year, usually you get to this time of year and you're like, okay, I'm tired, right? If you haven't been in for a year, trust me, next year you'll be like, oh my God, she was right. I am tired. So there's a method that we can take as agents to allow the momentum to continue while still relaxing and re-energizing. So that way we actually do have business and buyers and sellers and renters come January, come February, come March. Right? And that is today's topic. All right. So let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen here. Give me 1 second as I pull this up and we kick off today's fun. That is not my screen I want to share. That's my email. That'd be scary for all of you to see right now. All right, here we go. And thank you to AI for creating these slides for me today. I had them in a different format, but I want a holiday theme. And I literally just put, if you're not tapping into AI, not this month, but starting January, the third Thursday of every single month, we teach an AI class for real estate agents. So please make sure you attend that. Okay, so we're going to go through these slides. I'm going to discuss some of them, but then we're going to have a little open conversation. I'm going to ask some questions, and then again, send you on your way. I'm going to share a worksheet at the end of this for all of you to have to work off of as your action item. So as an agent, we don't need to do everything this season. We just need to focus on the right things. Okay, so let's ask them a question about that phrase, the right things. As an agent, what do you think those right things are? What could that be? Who wants to take a guess? Come off of mute, throw it in the chat box.
I was going to say, as a new agent, for me, it's more like, keeping the momentum, attending all the skill shops, attending all the trainings, keeping connection with my coach, so that I can prep myself as much as possible during this time, so I am better prepared comes January, comes the new year. That's my goal, sort of, for this season.
Thank you, Stan. I absolutely love that, right? As a new agent, staying engaged with learning, right? And building that strong foundation of knowledge you need to bring into that new year. Absolutely. Absolutely. What else? What else do you guys think? Any guesses out there? Going once, going twice? Okay, I'm just going to tell it to you. So it's all about staying visible, connected, and sane, right? So sane is important. What we mean by visible and connected is continually, if you're on social media, continually staying visible and connected on social media throughout the season so people remember you're in real estate, right? Visible and connected could mean just simply talking to people, right? In an organic way. In a few slides, we'll go over what that could look like in the holiday season, but it's connecting with people we know who know us, which is called our friends and family, or our sphere, right? So they know and they remember that we're in real estate. So here's what tends to happen in people's mindset this time of year. Now, not real estate agents, I'm calling them the outside world. So people not in real estate, I call the outside world. So the outside world Okay. Um, what tends to happen this time of year is they start thinking about their goals for next year, right? Do they want a new job? Do they want to, I don't know, redo something in their house, right? Do they want to make a move? This is the time of year where whether they're single, they have significant others, partners, whoever it is, they are sitting down having conversations with friends and family around next year. Everybody in December tends to have conversations around 2026. And a lot of the conversations that actually come up is, oh yeah, I really, God, I'm so sick of renting. Maybe next year will be the year I buy. That conversation happens way more than you think, with probably about 6%, actually, not probably, 6% of people in your phone right now are saying that right now. In December, 6% of people, you don't know who they are, but there's 6% of people in this phone of yours who are saying that in the month of December, right? Yeah, God, I'm so tired of renting. The rent keeps going up every year. Maybe I should buy. Or it's someone who owns a house and maybe they had a life change of whatever sorts. It's, oh my God, so my brother and sister-in-law are moving in January. They live in California. Well, my niece just started college, so she's no longer at home. Now, she goes back and forth, but she's no longer at home. She's at college. So their conversation, right? They're moving in January. So their conversation prior to January was, we don't need all of this space. Like, I want a big backyard and stuff for our dog, but we don't need all of this. Like, let's get something smaller. Let's move into something a little bit smaller. Not smaller for them, it's still big, but smaller, right? So their conversation literally 3 months ago was, let's move. And now they have a place and they're moving in January. That's how fast some of this happens sometimes, right? So if we are not staying visible and connected with people and reminding them we're in real estate and learning what their goals are for next year or any needs they have, so being a resource, what I mean by a resource is, I'll give you a personal example. I've been wanting to paint rooms in my house for I don't even know how many years, right? And I finally ended up talking to a painter recently through a friend of mine and just saying, yeah, I think 2026 is the year I'm going to paint a wall, right? Like, follow up with me on that. I want to paint a wall and you're hired. Like, you're the guy. Now, here's the thing. We could be that resource for our friends and family when we learn about their needs next year. If they're like, yeah, I really want to, like, one of you was my agent and you found out I want to paint a wall, I'd be like, oh my God, let me connect you with a painter. Right. So it doesn't have to be buying, selling, renting. It could be connecting them and just being a resource to them. So again, staying visible and connected, right? That can also just mean posting things on social media, right? So here's some holiday hustle myths for you. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Myth number one, nobody buys or sells during the holiday. Well, if that was the case, then the 50 transactions I literally just saw in the past 2 weeks with agents wouldn't have happened. The listing that one of our brand new agents just got 2 days ago wouldn't have happened. The agent who just started 2 weeks ago and has their first buyer and they're showing houses this week wouldn't have happened. My friend who sold 23 houses last December, 23 in December, wouldn't have happened. So that myth, nobody buys or sells during the holiday, is truly a myth. That is not a truth, right? Yes, there are fewer transactions. Yeah, there's fewer. It's not like March or April or May where you hit the spring season, but there's absolutely business. So the agents who keep the momentum going and keep their foot on the gas, doesn't have to be fully down, but just on the gas, that 10% are finding that business. That's actually how my friend last year had 23 closings in December, is because in October, when everybody else was slowing down, she put both, I don't know if it was like there was two gas pedals. And she's like, I'm going to take business because nobody else is. She captured the season. Holiday buyers and sellers are motivated. People who truly want to buy or sell right now are really motivated. right? There are a lot of people who, now here's the thing, you're not going to, unless they're a cash buyer, if you find a buyer right now, they're not closing this year, right? If you find a buyer now, you're showing them houses right now, which by the way is really beautiful. Like they're seeing houses that are sometimes all lit up. They got lights. There's lights in the neighborhood, so it makes it even more captivating for them. Like, oh wow, what a pretty neighborhood, right? Not for all neighborhoods, but many of them. Fewer agents working, less competition. Yes. There's literally 10% of agents right now are working. 90% are fully on holiday. So if you keep the momentum going as an agent, you're probably not up against the other 90% of agents or even 10% more agents. If I slow down, I'll lose momentum. That is not true. Slowing down doesn't mean stopping. Okay, stopping means you literally stop. Like, I'm not on social media, I'm not calling people, I'm not posting, I'm not talking to people about real estate. Stopping means you literally stop. Slowing down simply means, all right, instead of working 5 hours a day, I'm going to put 2 hours in instead of doing, right? So that's that first slide where it says focus on the right activities. The right activities are two things. And that's it, just two things. One, connecting with people, whether that's through social media, texting, DMing, calling people, networking. If you go to a holiday party, do you happen to talk to someone about like, does real estate come organically when they say, what do you do? Right. I was in New York, interesting. So I was in New York this past weekend and my friends and I, it was a girl trip, had nothing to do with work whatsoever. Real estate's everywhere though. We were at this, well, I'll just say what it is. We're at this bar and we were dancing and talking to people. And we ended up talking to this whole group of people. And the natural question that comes up is, well, what do you do? So when one of the individuals, who was actually a person who lived in Ireland, when he asked that question of the group, right? My two other friends work in the government, obviously myself in real estate. So we each said what we do. When I said real estate, he goes, oh my God, do you ever work with rental properties, like investment properties, Airbnbs? Because I have two Airbnbs in Canada. I have one in Ireland and I want to get one in New York. Can you help me with that? So can I help him with that? What do you guys think? Thumbs up or down? Can I help him? I'm in Maryland. Can I help him with New York? And if so, how? I see thumbs up. So how can I help him? Absolutely. What's the word?
Referral.
Yes. I know an amazing agent in New York. And even if I didn't know one, I can find one. So what I shared with this individual is, oh my God, let me connect you with someone great in New York to help you find this property. We exchange. I'm in New York for a girls' weekend. Real estate is everywhere. Okay, so slowing down doesn't mean taking your foot off the gas. It just simply means staying consistent with the right activities. Myth 3, I'll catch up in January. January rewards agents who are prepared in December. What that means is if you completely take your foot off the gas and do nothing real estate related in December, you are basically starting from scratch in January. Like starting from zero. Mindset wise, momentum wise, the whole 9 yards. By the way, am I okay? I feel like I'm freezing. Can you guys still hear me okay? Okay, good. Just spot check here. Every so often my house gets a little wonky. January is easier when December was intentional. Okay. The holidays are not a stop sign. They're just a yield sign. You know how like when you're like merging onto 495, 695, 95, any of the 95s out there? Right? And you're merging onto a highway and there's a yield sign. So you're just creeping on. That's what December is, right? We're just yielding right into that. We're just moving into the lane. Okay. Just keeping it going. So here's the holiday momentum formula for you. Okay, it's simple, sustainable, and repeatable. What you're doing is you're breaking down little chunks. Now, depending on your time, the chunks will differ, right? So for example, today, your 60-minute is right here with me today. Thank you for joining. Okay. It's learning. Because again, the two things are learning and activities. Well, let me rephrase that. Learning, lead generation, meaning learning and making connections. That's it. That's the momentum you're looking to keep going. Okay. So can you dedicate, let me rephrase that. Here's the thing, we all can. Every single person can. Unless you physically work like 6 a.m. to midnight at a different job and you have no time whatsoever, that's a little different story, right? Will you put 30 to 60 minutes into your day? Notice I'm not saying 3 hours. I'm not saying 5 hours. I'm not saying 6. It could be 30 minutes in the morning or 30 minutes lunch break and then 30 minutes in the evenings, or maybe just an hour during your lunch break, whatever that looks like to you. But will you commit to putting that simple time frame in your schedule to do 5 to 10 personal reach outs? Now, personal reach outs could be meeting up with a friend. I'm going to dinner with a friend tomorrow night I haven't seen in over a year. We're reconnecting. That's a reach out. Is real estate probably going to come up? Absolutely, because he's probably going to talk about, like, what am I doing, right? I'm not going there to talk about real estate, but I know it will come up. A personal reach out might be through DMing people. It might be through calling people, following the TCPA Do Not Call Act. It might be through, there's not one way, but will you commit to 5 to 10 personal reach outs in that time block? Right? Will you commit to one post on social media or one pop by? Right? Pop by means you literally are physically popping by a house, right? So right now there's an agent who, actually, hold on, let me see if I can find the picture. So one of our vendor partners, Home Warranty, popped by our office. So she literally came to the office and she brought rolls of wrapping paper and she had stickers on the wrapping paper. And I'm forgetting what the sticker said, but it was like the cutest thing ever. And it was, but it was something catchy. It had her face on it. It had her contact information, right? And it was something about her home warranty business and wrapping paper in the holidays, right? There's an agent right now who's popping by her neighborhood, her neighbors, with a little holiday recipe card. And on the back of the recipe card is all of her real estate information. Right. So there's agents who in November did pop-bys with pies because a little more pricey, but they did like a few pies to people's houses, right? So what are you doing to be visible? Right. And then one business building activity, that's what Stan mentioned. What are you doing to learn and continually build your business to grow it? Right. You're not trying to win the year in December. You can't win. The year's over. Okay. And again, unless you find a cash buyer, there's no closings happening in this month for you. Sorry. But if you keep the engine warm, you could go into January with a new buyer or a new seller or even a new renter, right? You could go into January with a piece of business. So that way you're going into the new year with something, knowing that you'll have a closing around March then. So it's usually about, again, whatever time frame you start, about 90 days out. So here's an activity. All you're going to do this right now. Now I want you to think about what is one non-negotiable daily habit that you will commit to for the rest of December? What's a daily real estate habit? Let me rephrase that. What's a daily real estate? Now, we can do this and, it doesn't have to be real estate, but we're going to focus on real estate right now because obviously the class. What is one daily habit that's non-negotiable? Non-negotiable means that you are saying, I'm going to commit to this. I know I can do this. Don't make it this huge thing. Just make it one simple, repeatable thing. Right. So everybody think about that for just a quick second. And then if you can, in the chat box, share what that habit is. Yes, I can absolutely share the presentation to all of you. Somebody just asked that. Yep, I can email that out to you. I love that. One visibility post on social media. Learn something new. I love that. Just learn something new. Here's the thing. When you think about learning something new, I want you to be very specific with that. So go into each week. Now, granted, what do we have? Like 2 weeks left of this month? Right. So go into each week or each day, right? Because it's a daily habit. Go into each day, like, what do you want to learn today? Right. If it's, I want to learn the buyer agreement, then that day is pulling that buyer agreement, in my opinion, printing it out, but that's totally up to you, and reading it in full multiple times. I like to write bullet points next to it as if I'm like making it into my own words, right? For myself, it's like a cheat sheet, right? Have you read the buyer agent? Have you read the contract of sale? Have you read the listing agreement? So maybe the day of learning is reading something contract wise. It could be watching a YouTube video. It could be watching one of our previous videos. All right, let's see. Make progress in learning education that's measurable. Yep, exactly, right? So you're giving yourself a learning command, right? So following, there's that YouTube, that playlist I've shared out many times called 66 Day, 66, oh my goodness, 66 Day Command Challenge. Wow, that I was drawing a blank on that. Allison, if you have that handy, if you could share it in the chat box, that would be fantastic. So each day, go in there and get hands-on with one thing. Just start with one thing. Don't try to learn command in one day or even 1 week. It takes 90 days to learn command minimum. Okay, so what is that one thing you want to learn today? Great, do it. What's that one thing you want to learn tomorrow? Right. And then one weekly focus that you can sustain through the holidays. So again, your weekly focus has to have something that keeps the momentum going, which means it has to have something connection related. So what is something every week you can do to connect with people? Now, if you're a newer, like brand newer agent and you're like, ooh, hold on a minute. Like, I'm not ready to connect with people. I don't know what to say. Like, hold up. By the way, the first Tuesday of January, the class is going to be how to find business. The second Tuesday of January is going to be, the third Tuesday of January, you'll get all these calendars, don't worry, is going to be what do you say and how do you say it? That's literally the class title in one of January's Tuesday classes is what do you say and how do you say it? But here's the thing, right now, don't be afraid as a newer agent to reach out to people because nothing bad can happen. I promise you. I've coached over 1,000 people since 2017, locally and nationally. Nothing bad's going to happen. Nobody's going to. The worst that happens, they ask you a question about the market. You are unsure of the answer. So you say, wow, that's a great question. Let me write that down. And I want to pull that information for you and get back to you on it. And then you reach out to your coach, you get the information, or you look it up on the resources, and then you get back to them. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. The other thing people are afraid of is like, well, what if I reach out to people and they do have a real estate goal and they do want to do something in January? That's why we have the support. You reach out to your support, your coach. Oh my God, I have somebody, right? Again, an agent recently joined 2 weeks ago. They just got their first listing appointment. They just got their first listing. They haven't even attended trainings yet. That's an amazing thing. Is it scary? Yes. But don't be scared because, again, you have the support for it. All right. So creating boundaries to prevent burnout. So again, if you're brand new, you're not feeling the burnout yet because you're brand new. If you're getting into a year in the business and thinking about next year, this happens every year to every agent at certain points. I find that's very seasonal for people. So some people experience burnout in the spring, some people the summer, some people the winter, but typically around holiday timeframe. Burnout doesn't come from work. It comes from not having clarity in what you need to do each week. So you're just running all over the place. When you have true clarity in your week, you go into it saying, here's my Monday. I'm going to do this one thing. Okay, I did it. Fantastic. Yay, right? Here's my Tuesday. I'm going to do this one thing. All right, I did it. Now, I have ADHD, so I squirrel a lot. So for those who get distracted easily, a little thing that I learned over the years, because real estate has been hard for me in the beginning because we don't have a boss saying you have to do this one thing or you're fired. So that makes real estate very difficult for people like myself who structure and focus is not my sweet spot. It's not ingrained in me. So I've had to learn little lessons over the years, and I have a coach who's taught me little things over the year. So what I'll do is I'll one have on my calendar in like, I mean, it will be a full-on sentence on my calendar, right? Where it says something like um, reaching out to 5 people through, in your database that start with the letter C, right? Like that's how specific it will be, right? So it doesn't just say call 5 people, text 5 people. It's very specific. Posting something on social media by 2 p.m., right? Like something specific like that. And then the second thing that's helped is using the stopwatch, like the timers on our phones. Because again, very like squirrely. I'm very squirrely. I don't know if there's other squirrelers on here. Any other? Am I alone? No. Okay. Allison, I know you squirrel. We work together. Come on. So I was like, we can squirrel together. So if that is you and you get distracted easily by things, like right now, I'm literally looking at my stove going, what do I want for lunch? Right. So if you get distracted easily, like myself, using timers on your phone is fantastic. So you know what you have to do, you know what time you start. So I have 6 alarm clocks set in my phone today. 6. I have 6 alarm clocks. I have an alarm clock right before this class to make sure I was on time. I have an alarm clock right after this for a call that I have to make to an agent. So on my calendar it says, call this agent, here's her number. I have an alarm clock for something at 3 o'clock. You're all going to learn my calendar right now. I have an alarm clock at 3 o'clock because I need to send a specific email before 5 o'clock. But I have to like create something, right? So it literally says create at 3 o'clock. It says, so I have an alarm clock to go in and create something to be able to send it. And then when the alarm clock goes off, I set a timer on my phone. Now, I know that sounds crazy, or at least it sounds crazy to me, but I had to figure out ways to stay focused on that one thing, again, that clarity, set boundaries to not go off and, sit on TikTok for the next 2 hours, which I will. And then you end the day going, I don't get anything done that I want to do. I don't even know what I did today. Right. So that's really important. And then the final thing I say on that first little bullet point there is recovery. In your real estate, 7 days, and we can work 7 days. Like it's easy in real estate to not stop working. You don't want to do that. Now, are there going to be weeks you do? Yes. Are there weeks that I absolutely do? Absolutely. We need to have our days. We need to have moments of recovery. Now, that could look like a day in the week where it's like, this is my day, I just shut everything off. Now, obviously, if you have clients, you want to be engaging with them, of course. Or it could look like recovery throughout your day. So little spurts of like, okay, if I do an hour here, I'm now going to set my timer and take a nice 30-minute break and just do whatever I want for 30 minutes. But again, set your timer because 30 minutes can turn into like 5 hours. Okay. Next thing you know, it's dinner time. Right. And then you get back to doing something for 30 minutes and then you reward yourself with a recovery time. Right. So you're giving yourself these little spurts. Right. Other holiday boundaries you can use is I don't work past blank. Right. So for me, I do not work past 8 p.m. Period. I don't answer my phone. Anybody who's ever talked to me will know, great, you can text me all you want. I turn my phone off. When I had clients, so when I was fully in the field, right now I work with all of you guys, even though I am an agent. When I was fully in the field, right, full time, it took me about a year to form my boundaries because it was difficult for me, to be honest. But when I did, it was liberating. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, but I'm going to use it. Like it felt amazing. So when I had a buyer, I had a seller, you set expectations. right? It's, oh my God, Denise, I'm so excited to work with you, show you the houses you want, get you into the home that has that big kitchen for all that cooking and baking you want to do. Can't wait to come over. I'll bake brownies. Okay. And I'm going to be reaching out throughout the week. I'll be sending you homes. Anything that you need from me, text me, right? Or call me. Just know anything you text or call me after 8 o'clock at night, that's my time with the family. So you can still text or call me. I'll get back to you first thing in the morning by 9 o'clock. Right. So now here's the thing, be careful what you say because they will hold you to it. So don't set a boundary or don't set expectations that you can't commit to. What is that saying? Under promise, over deliver. Is that what it is? I always get that reversed. I take blank days fully off. There's an agent who's been in the business now for 8 years. And her third year in the business, she decided every Wednesday was a her day. It was a day for her. For whatever she wanted to do, spa, TV, Netflix, whatever it was. That was a her day. But it was Wednesdays because weekends were open houses and showings and right, all that. So she took Wednesday. So when she talks to clients and she has clients, she sets that expectation. Hey, just so these are my appointment times to show houses in the evenings based on your schedule. I think this will work on the weekends. Wednesdays are time that I take with my, whatever you want to tell them, right? Wednesdays is the day is my rest day, is the day I take off, or my day with the family, or again, whatever you want to tell them. If you have another job, don't talk about your other job though. Never talk about your other job. Okay. People, I mean, when you get really close to people, they'll find out and you'll be friends and they'll know, but you don't want to start with that. There's nothing wrong with setting those expectations, right? I only check my emails X time of days. If anybody has ever talked to me once, you will know I will always say to a person, text me, call me, don't email me. Or if you want a very slower response, like a week later, then you can email me, right? So I'll say, you can say to people, hey, I only check my emails because I'm focused on clients and my business and working with people. I check my emails in the morning, right? And then after, whatever you want to say, 6 o'clock at night. So if something happens in between, definitely text me. Now, if you have a client, now I will say this disclaimer, if you have a client, I had a client back in the day, a buyer who works for the government, and she can't take her phone in. So it has to go in like a locker. So when I was helping her and her husband buy a house, I always ask clients, how do you like to be communicated with? Email, text, or calls? And she goes, well, I prefer text, but between the hours of 8 and 5, you can only email me to my work email address because my phone is locked in a locker at work. I can't bring the phone in. Right. So for that client, everything was email because everything I was doing with her was during the day. Okay. So that one varies a bit based on the client you have, right? Again, your business should support your life, not steal from it. All right. Holiday visibility that feels human, right? So visibility, not salesy, right? Warm, personal, genuine, right? This is the greatest time of year and the easiest time of year to reconnect with people, right? I mentioned I'm going to dinner with a friend of mine tomorrow night who I have not seen in, oh my God, actually, no, I haven't seen him in 3 years. I don't know why I said a year. I haven't seen him in 3 years. I think we did like the happy birthday text. Like when you see people on like Facebook or whatever, I'm aging myself, and you send them happy birthday things, we do that. We haven't seen each other in 3 years. We haven't talked on the phone in 3 years. He ended up reaching out to me 2 weeks ago. Now, he's not real estate. He ended up reaching out to me 2 weeks ago, totally different topic. But it was, oh my God, how have you been? How have you been? Right? So as an agent, reaching out to this right here, your A to Z's, this is the greatest and easiest. If you can't do it now, it's going to be harder for you down the road. And when I mean reaching out, you're not saying, hey, Stan, it's Alana. We haven't talked in 3 years. Do you have any real estate needs? That's salesy. Don't do that. Right? That's not going to feel good to anyone. I'm going to reach out, Stan. I haven't talked in years. I'm going to reach out and just be like, now this could be a call. This could be a text. This could be a DM, totally how you like to do it. and also how you know the person likes it. So I might text Stan, because I'm a texter. I might text Stan and be like, hey, Stan, it's been forever. I was just scrolling through my phone and realized I don't even know how long it's been. I just want to reach out and say, hi, how have you been? That's it. Just how have you been? That's your entire message. Because I genuinely care how he's been. Like, how are you doing? What's new in your life? I'm not talking about real estate at all. If he brings up in any of the texts or the calls, what have you been up to? Then yes, you talk about real estate. But when I say talk about real estate, you simply say, oh my God, yeah, just keep him busy in real estate. Oh, yep, just working on my real estate goals for next year. That's it. You don't have to go into any details. You don't have to say, you don't have to ask. That's all you have to say. You're planting seeds. If they never bring up real estate in that conversation, then just focus on the person right now. Over time, you're rebuilding that relationship. And trust me, they will over time ask you what you've been up to. It's going to come out at some point. Right? So right now, setting a like, hey, you know what? I'm going to reach out to 10 people a day, starting from A to Z on my phone until I get all the way to Z. It might take you, depending on how many people, it might take you all the way till February to do that. Can we wish people a happy new year in February? Say yes. Nod your head. Yes. Absolutely. I might call someone February 1st, but if I haven't talked to Stephanie and I reach out in February, hey, it's been forever. Happy New Year. How have you been? Is that message easier? Right? Is that something that you all can see yourself doing? Now, I will tell you this, nothing, I will repeat myself. I promise you when I say this, nothing bad will happen. You will not have a person say to you, by the way, if you do end up having a person say to you, this thing, delete them out of your phone. They shouldn't be in your phone to begin with. You're not going to have a person say to you, or I'm not going to text Denise, who I haven't talked to in 3 years, and she's going to text me back and be like, what the beep? Why are you reaching out to me? It's been forever. She hasn't reached out to me either. So nobody's going to call you out on not reaching out. They're going to feel so, what's the word I'm looking for? Thought of. They're going to feel thought of, and people like to be thought of. Especially this time of year. People like to be thought of. They want that connection. Okay. Don't focus on the end result. Don't focus on appointments. Don't focus on the money. That will come. Focus on just how can you reach out, right? Doing gratitude posts. You're thankful for things. By the way, when you are visible on social media right now, posting something every week can be something you're thankful for. Hashtag real estate agent. There's your subliminal messaging, right? Again, a little pop by with it. Maybe it's a simple treat. Maybe this amazing person in one of our offices up in Timonium popped by my office. We work in the same office. She popped by my office with a tin of cookies. I say it that way because she's literally out in the Zoom right now, so I'm talking about her. And they're amazing. I've already eaten 3, and in one day. So just those little gestures, right? And again, just as the year wraps up, I just want to say thank you for being part of my world. I hope your holidays are filled with peace, rest, and joy, or however you like to say it. ChatGPT is saying, just so y'all know. Okay. So we talked about boundaries. Oops, this went backwards. Right. To kind of close this out, right, we're going to reset and refresh for the new year. So I'm going to share a document in the chat box in just a second with all of you. And the document is your assignment. The document's your action item. What I recommend doing is spending 30 minutes. Raise your hand if you have 30 minutes between now and midnight tomorrow. Okay, awesome. We all have 30 minutes to simply go through that document and ask yourself the questions, right? What worked really well this year? Now, if you just joined real estate this month, What worked really well was you passed the test. Congratulations. You got started. You committed to something, you finished it, which by the way, when people start this is nationwide. When people start the real estate the real estate class to then take the exam to then start in real estate, if 100 people started the real estate classes, 10% actually start in real estate. All of you are within that 10%. You all started for a reason. You all have a why, right? So what worked really well? Getting into real estate. If you've been in real estate over a year, what's worked really well? Focus on the positive. We always go to the negative. Focus on the positive. What worked well? Take a journal. What has worked well? What are you proud of? Everybody has to find something they're proud of. If you're constantly on the negative, you're always going to be on the negative. Then we're going to go a little negative. What drained you? What's drained you? Now, again, if you're brand new as a real estate, maybe this question is just in general, right? What in life has drained you? We all have something. Right? What do you want more of next year? Is it more clients? Is it more money? Is it more, what is it? More freedom, more flexibility? What do you want next year? Right? Then you're looking at identifying your top 3 goals, right? What do you want to go? What are your top 3 goals? Not for 2026. We're going to shorten it just for quarter 1. That's January, February, March. Just for your first 90 days in the new year. What are your goals for that first 90 days? Now, if you are on here and you have a coach, please share this with your coach. That is the greatest way that coach can help you, is they know this. What are your goals for your first 90 days in the new year? What are the top 3 habits you want to build to help you with those goals? So what are the habits you want to work on? By the way, it takes 66 days to build a habit. Not that whole 21 days. I don't know where there's somebody who came up with 21 days. That's not real. It takes 66 days to make and keep a habit. That's why most people will start in January going to the gym. They'll keep it for like a whole month or 2. And then they'll like stop and then pick it back up maybe in the summertime because, summer bod, right? And then they'll stop and then they'll pick it up at the end of the year like, oh my God, it's almost the new year. I need to do it for like another 2 days before, I eat pie. And then they'll stop. It's because we actually don't do it for 66 or more days straight. When I say straight, it doesn't mean every single day, like every week we have a commitment, right? That's why it doesn't work, right? So what are the 3 habits you want to start building in that first 90 days? And then top 3 people to reconnect with. Look at your phone. Who are 3 people you want to reconnect with? Right? So that one I'm going to say this week, right? Today is Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. We have an entire week until we take some days off, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. We have some days off, right? Who are the 3 people you want to reconnect with between now and Christmas Day? And then actually reconnect with them. Again, it can be as simple as a text, simply saying, hey, Allison, it's been forever. How have you been? That's it. Obviously, put that in whatever word you all like. I probably would add some sort of emoji and GIF, knowing myself. Okay. Rested agents outperform exhausted ones, period. Right? So if you take these little simple, repeatable steps and you keep this momentum going, you're going to, trust me, when you get to February, if you're working with a coach, your foot will be on the gas because March 1st is spring market. That's real estate. March 1st is spring market. So February, the agents come out to play, meaning people are thinking about buying, people are thinking about selling. I mean, they do all year long, but that's where March, April, May are the biggest months. I'll say June as well, right? Those are the biggest months. All months have business, but the spring market is a real thing in real estate, right? So If you're learning and growing and doing these habits now, come spring market, your foot is fully on the gas. You'll be ready, right? Ready to run. Again, you don't need to disappear or overwork. Small intentional actions create momentum. Just remind yourself of that. What small action can I take today? That should be the question you ask yourself when you start your day. What small action can I take today? Where by taking that action, I feel good. I can do one of these. I can give myself a high five, right? And then taking care of yourself is actually a business strategy. If you don't take care of yourself, you will absolutely be burnt out. Again, by the end of the year. Happy holidays. I just like that slide. Okay, so we have a few minutes. I want to open it up. I want to hear from all of you. Oh, thank you for the reaction. I love when people use reactions on Zoom. I want to hear from as many of you as I possibly can in this time. What's something you are taking away from this? What's like one thing you're like, oh, wow, okay, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to implement that, or like, it was kind of like I call it an aha moment, a takeaway moment. Come off mute, put it in the chat box. Thank you, Allison, for sharing your info.
The aha moment for me is to incorporate at least one day to rest instead of feeling like 7 days a week I got to be learning something. I need to shut my brain down for at least one day.
I love that. So here's the thing, when you think about shutting your brain down, actually pick a day and put it on your calendar. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. That's a true statement. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. What else?
I think for me, it was the awareness, just listening to you, just having that awareness mindset was something that I can take away from this meeting. And also the commitment to, the one thing that I'm committing to this month, right? And I'm constantly having to think that, can I do that on the Christmas day, or can I do that on the New Year's Eve or the New Year's Day, something like that. So, like I was saying, something that's measurable in learning and training. I want to be able to do that even on the day when I have to spend the day with friends and family, right? So that's something it's takeaway for me.
Love that. Thank you. Seidel, you were coming off mute. Did I say your name
I've
right?
already put it on in the chat, but yes. So for me, one of the key takeaways is basically set the goals for next 90 days with my coach. So discuss those, because I feel as a new agent who have just started like 3 weeks ago, it is quite overwhelming. So I need a little bit of clarity and an action plan, so to speak, because otherwise there's just too much. There's information overload right now.
And I'm glad you said that, right? Yes, your first 90 days in real estate is like drinking from a full force fire hose, right? It is overwhelming. That's for every single agent. If you ask somebody who's been in real estate 20 years, can you remember back to your first week in real estate? They will actually say to you, and they could be like the most successful agent ever. They will say the exact same thing. I started in 2015. I was a dual career agent. I had a full-time job and was in real estate. My daughter was in middle school. And I probably every other week was like, should I get a different job? Ooh, should I do this? Like I probably questioned real estate every other week for like that full, like actually the entire year. Definitely the first 4 months, right? That's normal. That is super normal. Every single agent, I worked with over 1,000. Every single agent goes through that. The great thing about that is you will start slowly having the pieces come together. And then all of a sudden you'll look up one day. This is actually kind of crazy how it happens. And it happens to everybody. I actually love when agents message me and they're like, oh my God, it just happened. It's where you kind of wake up one day or you start your day and you're like, oh my God, I'm actually starting to get this. Like You're seeing the picture form. You're not going to know everything. You actually won't have full confidence and feel truly ready until you have your first closing. It's kind of a backwards effect for real estate. You actually have to have a closing for you to feel truly confident and ready. If you wait to be ready and feel confident to have a closing, you actually will never have a closing. That's a true statement. And I will say this, when you're sitting with your coach, set your 90-day goal, but focus on just your first 30. Okay, so set the goal, but then say, okay, what's my first 30 look like? Really chunk things down, right? I see in here, Fatima, I see consistency. As you said, don't burn yourself out doing everything at once. You can't do everything at once. You can't learn everything at once. You can't do everything at once. You can't master it. Well, you'll never master anything. Sorry. Once you learn everything, it changes in this industry, which is kind of fun. Nothing will ever be perfect. That's not real estate. But yeah, just what's that one step, right? It's like you're climbing a set of stairs to like the, I don't know, the penthouse, right? All right, we're just going to take one step today. We might not get to the penthouse until, I don't know, March. That's cool, right? Real estate's a journey. Denise, I saw your hand.
Yeah, I want to say that it's just overwhelming, like you said. It's so much to learn. Trying to pick and choose. When you say, well, what's the one thing you're going to do today? What's the one thing that you're going to be intentional about? Well, even choosing that one thing to be intentional about is stressful. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You even choosing that one thing because you like, which one I want to choose. Do I choose this? Do I choose that? Well, what I'm going to choose? I need to get all of it. You see what I'm saying?
Because, and you know what that feeling comes from? It's because we have been programmed. All right. So let me give you a little, so my background psychology. So let me can I end with a little psychology here? I'm going to end with
Yes.
psychology. Then I'm going to actually give you the one thing. If you're lost, I'm going to give you all the one thing. Okay. So little psychology. So we've been programmed from kindergarten to what is it? High school to 12th grade, right? Whatever high school ends with you, to move with a bell, right? You're going to go to this class, the bell's going to ring. You're going to go to this class, the bell's going to ring. You're going to this class, the bell's going to ring. So we have no actual decision-making thought process. Like our brains are not trained to actually think about things. Our brains are trained to just move with the bell, right? Move with what the teachers and what we have to do. Then we get into the world, whether college, no college, doesn't matter. We get into the world. And if you have another job, we have bosses. And if we don't do things, we get fired. Right? Okay. So again, we're moving with this structure. So then we get into real estate. There's no bells. There's no bosses. It's a free-for-all. Truly a free-for-all. Now, has there been a book written to help you? Has there been coaches? Has there been a platform? Yes, but it's a free-for-all. Right? So that's what makes it difficult. What's exciting, though, about it is once you actually start, and by the way, it took me a good 3 years to get to this place. Okay? It was not year one. It was not year two. It was year three. Once you start putting all the pieces together and your brain starts changing almost to where you're like, oh my God, okay, wait a minute. You mean I can take off every Wednesday if I want to? Wait, you mean I can do this or do that in my own times? Like, it's empowering. You just have to give yourself grace and patience to get to that point. It will not happen overnight. We're also programmed for instant gratification. It's like Amazon. Ooh, I want it today. Yay, look, I have it. Real estate's not instant gratification. That was the hardest lesson I had to learn because I love instant gratification. I'm an Amazon junkie. I need a support group. So real estate is totally the opposite of that. The activities you do, by the way, when I say activities, I mean connecting with people. If you do not connect with people, meaning talk to people, you will never have business, period. That's real estate. If you don't talk to people, you'll never have business. That's literally the only activity that matters. Yes, learning, absolutely, because you need to know how to connect with people, right? But if you don't connect, you will have no sales. You can read the contract all you want. You'll never use it, right? So when you start connecting with people, you're going to want the results of it. You're not going to see the results of it for at least 90 days. So we have to actually stick. I always say to people, stay the course. Just stay the course. Just stay the course. I promise you, if you stay the course, right? I had an agent once who put that as their backdrop on their phone. They made a screen thing on their phone that says stay the course, because I just kept saying it to them over and over. If you stay the course, talking with not the same people, but talking with 5 people a day, 5 days a week, or 10 people a day, 10 days, 5 days a week, right? 25 to 50 people, you will see the results. I promise you. I don't promise a lot in life. I do promise that. If it's, I talked to one person this week, this doesn't work. Well, you're right. It won't work, right? So the one activity, I'm going to give you this, right? If you get off of here and you're like, where do I start? Right? Look at your calendar. Look at your phone and start with the letter A and say, today, and I don't care if you call them, you text them, you DM them, that's totally up to you. But today, I'm just going to reach out to the people who start with A. And if I have a lot of people on my phone that start with A, it might be today and tomorrow that I reach out to my A's. Does everybody understand when I say reach out to A's? Like it's alphabetized? Okay, I want to make sure that people understand. And then when you're done with the A's, again, depending on how many people you have, you can move on to B. So then the next day is B. And then when you're done with the B's, you reach out to C. And you literally just move each day. Your activity is A through, just start with A, going all the way to Z. I know an agent who did that. The amount of people they had on their phone, because they had a few, I think they had like 2,000 or some, or 3,000. It took them 4 months. No, 3 months. It took them 3 months, 90 days to get through. Not everybody answered, not everybody responded, but it took 3 months to get from A to Z. In that 3 months, she rekindled relationships that were lost. She cleaned up a little bit because she had like 5 mics in her phone, but didn't know who Mike was. There were no last names, right? So kind of cleaned up a little bit. Right? And she found people who had real estate needs over this next year, within the next 4 to 12 months. So she built a future. All just going through A to Z's. That's the greatest activity any agent could ever do. And this is the easiest time to do it. All right, Stephanie, we'll go with you, and then we do need to close out because I'm late for another Zoom.
Okay, really quickly, I'm sorry. So my question is based on what you were just now speaking on. So I've reached out in my phone A through Z via text, and I was sharing my card, not actually calling. But at the time, I was only licensed in Maryland, but I've now since gotten DC and Virginia. So my question is, do I do that process all over again to be like, hey, I'm updating, I'm newly licensed in this area or that area, or just leave it where it is because I've already gone through the entire phone A through Z? That was my question.
So a rule of thumb is to, one, if you haven't talked to everybody, the people you haven't talked to, reach out again. The whole happy holiday thing. 2, doing that activity, the A to Z activity, once a quarter. So everybody gets what we call touched once a quarter. Right. So if it's been over a quarter, then reach out, happy holidays, happy new year, all the good stuff. If it's been the past month or two and you're like, well, I literally just did that like last month, then it's okay. Where else can you find people? Right? Where else do you have social media? Are there events you can go to? How do you like to connect with people just in general? I will tell you the first Tuesday of January is the class, How Do We Find Business? I'm going to be going through 20 different ways to find business in this industry. There's literally like 50 different ways, but I'm going to go through 20 of them that are kind of more fun, right? We literally have an agent who once a week goes and plays pickleball with different groups to talk about real estate. I'm not saying everybody needs to go play pickleball. I've never played myself, but I'm just saying it's just finding different avenues to find people.
Understood. Got it. Thank you.
And by the way, it does not matter where they live because we have partners, meaning we have agent partners across the entire world, right? So don't skip over people simply because they live in another state or another country, because we can help them, because we can refer them to an amazing person, right?
That's true. That's true. That's
Right?
true.
One year
Thank
I
you.
made $22,000 just in referral fees. Other agents were doing the work. I just simply connected them with agents.
That's true. Thank you. Because, yeah, I went to my vacation home and originally when I was sending out to Texas, I was skipping over those people because they lived in the state where the vacation home was, not where I was licensed. So I wasn't sending the text to them. And then I thought, like, well, let me just send it to them. And once I started sending it to them, they were like, hey, my son or my grandchild lives near where you are and they're looking for a house or such and such. Can I give them your number? So, yeah. That's a true statement. I'm starting to learn that now because I
It
just
is
did that.
100% true. Not only that, but even our friends and family, and this is if you've reached out and you're like, well, what do I do now? It's okay to reach out if we haven't, again, if we haven't asked the question, hey, I know we talked, I know reach out. I'm reaching out again to see if you have any real estate needs next year that I can help with, or if you've ever thought about learning about how to build wealth with real estate. Most people don't ask that question. And then you all of a sudden find out that a friend of yours just bought their first investment property, which, by the way, investors are simply buyers. That's a buyer, a little needy buyer, but they're buyers, right? So needier, should I say. So reaching out, and Denise, I loved your question you put in the chat box. I do want to touch on this. I know we're over. If you're like, well, nobody's buying, nobody's selling, they're kind of financially challenged. One, if people lost their job, we're not talking to them about real estate. We're just simply talking to them to show care. Like, how have you been? Do you need anything? Just genuinely care about them for two reasons. One, this is a nice thing to do. We should, right? Like that. If we come from the heart, we'll always win. The second is people know people. People know people. So you might have a friend in your phone who has no real estate needs whatsoever, who might have just bought last week with a totally different agent, but yet their coworker is talking about buying a house, or their uncle is talking about buying a house. And people are going to be around family a lot, or friends. Like I have a big not Friendsgiving, but whatever you call it for Christmas. None of them are in real estate. They all work for the government. So you never know who people are going to be around. And if they are financially challenged, if they have a dream of home ownership, right? So I primarily started in the Baltimore office. That's been my hub, right? So a lot of who I worked with to start with were, well, a little varying. Howard County, because I live there, which is in Howard County, Maryland, and then Baltimore office. So very, very different financial population in certain locations. And some of the people I was working with never thought they could ever purchase a home. And the first conversation I would have with someone who thought about, well, I would love to, but there was no possible way, was, I'd love to connect you with a credit advisor or one of my lender partners just to learn about maybe how you can in the future. Maybe in like a year from now, to start helping you get a step closer to that goal. Don't think about real estate as tomorrow. Think about real estate as with no end date. There might be someone in your phone right now who thinks they can't afford real estate, but it was a dream to own their own house. And with the right connections and education, and there's grants out there, with the right connection, education, and grants, we might be able to help them with home ownership in a year or two from now. That's huge. Like that's really powerful, you know? So don't be afraid to just, again, talk to anybody and everybody. Don't have that little thing on your shoulder going, oh, they can't afford it, or they can't do it, or they don't know anybody, or, they just bought last year. All right. Thank you all so much. I will share the slides out to everyone. Oh, I totally forgot. Hold on, chat box. I totally forgot the outline. Oh, let me put this in here real quick. Go here, we go here. It is nothing fancy, but it's just to get your brain going. So go ahead and pull that from the chat box. I will resend it out in the email with the slides as well. So if you're having trouble pulling that or opening it up. But again, just some things to think about as you're going through December into January. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. If you need anything, reach out. I know Denise, we still need to connect. So I'll text me with some times. We'll definitely connect. All right, everybody. Have a great day.